Hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome back to another Accureye Let's Talk video, or Accureye Talks video. And in today's Talks video, I thought we'd talk about at least ways to improve your game. And, you know, while I'm still trying to get back into doing fighting games and fighting game tournaments, obviously I have picked up a few ways that, to me, seem like they would help you or anybody, including myself, improve on your game. Because, well, let's face it, sometimes your game is just off. So how do you perfect your game? How do you make it to where your game is, you know, I guess you could say on top of things, on the you know, on the big playing field? Well, I mean, there are a few ways to do it, and my personal thoughts are just that there are many ways to do it. First of all, you know, knowing your moves, knowing your move set. Those are one of the biggest things you can do at first, is know your moves. Know how to do your moves. And sometimes if that means you have to ask somebody to help you with the input, then don't be afraid to ask somebody. Ask an expert in the fighting game community. If they play that character, maybe they know the input, or maybe they can help you with the general input of the, you know, of that move. And of course, once you get that move done and practiced enough, then, you know, it'll become easier. The second thing I would recommend is, of course, learn your timing. AKA, take time on practice to, you know, try to perfect or understand what your opponent is doing, what is going on when you are playing the game. Because obviously, if you know your opponent's timing, you know how many frames they're missing when you, for instance, on-block somebody, then it will become easier to, you know, understandably, it'll become easier to go, oh, okay, they're doing this, so if I do this, then I possibly will get this. And yeah, that's most likely going to be the idea, is that, you know, once you know your timing and stuff, it'll become easier to kind of go, oh, okay, I get it, I understand this now. So, you know, and, you know, you will become at a point where it should be a little bit of a, oh, okay, not a problem, I can do this, you know, I can do this kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, you know, again, those are just a few understanding points to maybe helping you improve. While none of it, of course, is ever guaranteed, you know, just realize that most of it is just general guides, general thoughts. These are just, you know, my personal understanding of the game, in a way. So, you know, yeah, I mean, there are just those general perspective to look at. You know, it's the general thing to look at, is just how does this react? How does, you know, doing this make me in the process of, you know, in the process of figuring out my character. Another way, of course, to improve your game is to, of course, look into playing, you know, of course, is to just look at of course, play against other players. Now, you know, playing online is probably one of the better ways to play against other players, because you can get a better grasp of what mistakes are being made. But, I mean, overall, it may not improve your game immediately, and if you don't know your moves, you don't know the timing, and maybe you don't know the characters. Remember, knowing the characters, having inside knowledge of every character, is probably the best thing you can do. And the best way to learn that is to do practice mode. Go into practice mode, take a look at every character, look at their moves, look at their time sets, place them against your, you know, first place them against you playing that character, so you know their moves, their stuff, and whatnot. And then, of course, you know, figure out how many frames do you have when you're going against that character. AKA, put it into where you're recording yourself, you know, do certain moves. Rather, it's just like a light punch or whatever. And give yourself an idea of how many frames you will have upon, you know, upon seeing so-and-so move, you know. So, for instance, of course, if you're if your character is doing, like, for instance, a lot of Hadoukens, in the case of this example against Ryu, then, figure out how much time do you have between Hadoukens to maybe either move in and, take your opponent by surprise while reading them. And, of course, also just think, okay, what should I do under this kind of situation? Because, let's face it, sometimes, situation by situation, it isn't going to play in your favor. I mean, let's face it, overall, I would say 9 out of 10 times, all situations aren't going to play into your favor. Sometimes you just gotta think, okay, well, this situation can happen, but how do I make it to where, I'm not going to be the one surprised. I'm not going to be the one who's like, oh crap, now what do I do? I'm going to just push buttons or mash, push extra buttons or mash buttons, just hoping that I'll get out of it, How can I play smart? And that's probably one of the biggest things when you're playing against any player is learning to play smart. Learning to know, okay, this is how many frames I have between actions. If they're going to do this, then how do I react to that? How do I make it to where I'm getting a reaction? How can I make a point of like, oh, okay, this is going to be a thing, then, yeah. So, yeah. But, yeah, that's just it. It's just figuring out how do I react? How do I make this person pay for their mistakes? Because, again, that's one of the biggest things is low-rank players, you're probably going to notice they're going to make a lot of just, like, mashing buttons, because I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm just going to mash buttons to hope that I'm going to win. And, that's exactly what you see. So, you got to think, okay, I know the framing, I know the times, I know how the window works. So, how can I, get into this guy's head and go, okay, let's combo this guy up a little bit, you know what I mean? So, so that's something you gotta think about. And sometimes that, of course, means that you gotta do simple moves to throw this guy off their game. AKA, if they're going to be like this Ryu here, as like an example, and they're going to just kind of hope to get you off the distance game, and, maybe push buttons, then you gotta think, okay, how can I punish this guy if he's going to let me punish him? If this guy is going to let me punish him every time, how am I going to punish this guy back? Because that's pretty much the big idea. Now, obviously, there are times where I, of course, still make mistakes by pushing buttons, but but it's kind of like, you always gotta remember, how do you get into somebody's head? How do you make them kind of go, oh crap, I'm not in driver's seat like I thought, So, and I think that's the big thing that many people don't understand sometimes. It's just, how do I make them think that they're in the driver's seat when really I'm in the driver's seat. I've been in the driver's seat the whole time, So, yeah, I mean, that's what it is. But anyway, I mean, hopefully this video has helped you. There's one other way, of course, to improve your reaction times, get your moves down, and maybe even understand frames and parries, and just slight improvement overall. And that's, of course, by using something like survival mode. Survival mode, arcade mode, again, those are major ways of improving your game. Major ways of seeing characters that maybe you will be going against, and seeing how the computers have laid them out, and what's their best strengths and weaknesses. Because, again, as long as you know your combos, as long as you know your punishes, as long as you know your frames, your whiffs, and whatever, you're going to be in the driver's seat. You're almost going to be guaranteed to win the game, as long as you kind of know exactly everything about the game. And that means, like I said, character, your time, your framing, what moves are your strengths, what moves are your weaknesses. Because if you know all that, then, your game is going to be majorly improved. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure. But lately, I've also been live on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and sometimes, or Monday and Tuesday, and sometimes Sunday. Friday and Sunday will always be about a bonus stream, and Monday and Tuesday will always be about a 2 to 3 hour stream. Sometimes it's a little longer, but usually it's about 2 to 3 hours. And, yeah, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today. Thank you for watching this video. And, yeah, I hope to see you on Twitch, live, where we can talk more about fighting games or whatever. But until the next one, everybody, this is Accureye signing out and saying, farewell, everyone.